Hey guys, Bryant Luers here. I'm the LG Seed Sales Agronomist covering Eastern Iowa as well as Northeast Missouri. Today I'm going to cover a topic of diseases, specifically corn diseases. You can see here behind me, beautiful looking field of corn. It's been a hot topic here over the last few years, specifically on a new disease. So we're going to cover 3 to 4 main diseases that we see kind of in this area as well as the Northeast Missouri, just kind of corn belt in general here. So I specifically picked this field today because knowing the background on this field, we've got a no-till field that's no-till corn on corn. And so as you'll hear me talk about a few of these things that affect disease and set it in for us, you'll kind of understand why I picked this specific field. So number one, I'm sure all you guys at some point or another have heard of the disease triangle. So disease triangle, you need 3 things for a disease to be present. Number one, you need a host plant. That's what the corn's providing here for us today in this instance. Number 2, you need a pathogen. So that pathogen with a lot of these diseases that I'm going to cover will overwinter in our residue here in Iowa. And so that's why I say the highest pressure that you're probably going to see in most of these areas will be in fields with high residue in them. So no-till fields or minimum till. And then if you're talking corn on corn, because you're going right back there to these fields that probably had diseases there last year. And that pathogen's still present and overwintering in our residue in our soils. So the third thing you need there is environment. Now the environment's been pretty hit and miss here in Eastern Iowa. So we've got pockets like right here that are getting plenty of rain. Most of these diseases that we're going to talk about are gonna need extended periods of leaf wetness. And so this is another reason why I picked this area, because the environment's been very conducive for some of these diseases. Unfortunately, we're not seeing a lot here, but I did pull this plant here that's got a couple things on it. So the first disease I'll hit on is gray leaf spot. Especially if we get into southeast Iowa and northeast Missouri, gray leaf spot's a disease that's pretty much with us every single year. Generally, it's not a huge yield robbing disease for us, but it can be if you get poor hybrid selection that are very susceptible to gray leaf, and if you get good environments for it. So as you can see on here, there are a few lesions of gray leaf spot showing up on this leaf. Obviously nothing I'd be real concerned about. This is overall a pretty healthy plant. So gray leaf is a disease that needs a little bit hotter temperatures than some of the other ones we'll talk about today. I think generally gray leaf spot, you're looking at that kind of 75 to 85 degree kind of sweet spot for it with extended periods of leaf wetness. The next disease we'll talk about, and unfortunately I couldn't find it out here today, is northern corn leaf blight. So that one, you kind of get those cigar-shaped lesions on the leaves. They can get pretty big at times. I actually think that northern corn leaf blight can be a bigger yield robber for us in most cases than what gray leaf spot can be. But it likes a little cooler temperatures, so you're talking in that probably 65 to 75 to 80 degree temperature range. Cooling off at night, extended periods of leaf wetness, that's when northern corn leaf blight is going to set in. So the hot one that everyone wants to talk about in this area the last few years has been tar spot. And unfortunately, I could not find that out here. I guess that's fortunate for the grower here, but tar spot's been a disease the last 3 years. It's been a huge yield robber for us. It can set in late. Fungicides will only hold it off for so long, and it'll come in about this time of year and it'll reduce yields by 50, 60 bushel in certain instances. So with tar spot, you're also looking at a little cooler temperatures, that 65 to 75 degree range, with again extended periods of leaf wetness, and tar spot does overwinter in our residue. So this specific field did have some tar spot in it last year, so that's why I came back here trying to look for it. It hasn't showed up yet, so we'll see if it does in the next couple weeks. But the last thing that I'll hit on real quick is Physoderma, and you can kind of see that on the stalk here with these brown specks starting to show up. Physoderma stalk rot, or node rot as some people call it, generally is not a huge problem. The only time that we see big issues with Physoderma is if it starts to work its way into these nodes. It can cause brittle nodes for you, and you end up with symptoms that mimic green snap with your node breakage. So yeah, I guess that's all I've got for you guys today. If you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out to myself or your local LG Seed Sales Agronomist. Thank you.